I see in my rear view or my side mirror here, the Subaru got pulled out to pass, and I look in front of me and there's an oncoming person, and this Subaru is not going to make it. Alright guys, just checked in here at my pickup site. Got trains around. We're at Lamb Weston. They haul reefer loads, frozen goods. This is my trailer I'm gonna pick up, 534823. Got the reefer. There's my truck, Kenworth T600, 10 speed, 96. When I'm here, before I hook up, check to make sure the reefer's on. We'll back up. Kind of go through the process of how you hook up a trailer, what to check for, check the paperwork and all that. Let's get to it. We're going to be heading down to the Tri-Cities today. It's about lunchtime, maybe, something like that. I run loads for these guys quite often. Here's my truck. Here's the inside of the Kenworth. CB, got all my good gauges, boost gauge, got a new turbo, so I get 32 pounds of boost these days. There's my rear view mirror. So there's going to be some beeping. I got to drop my air suspension here. These trailers, they usually sit low. So I'm going to back up. What you want to do is get your drive tires. You can see them right there. You just want to line them up the side of the trailer. And just back in, and we'll hear a click. And I'm going to dump my air, and I'm going to try and edit out some beeping. So I backed in, locked into the fifth wheel. First thing I'm gonna do once I back the tractor in here is just put it in drive. Give it a little tug test. Basically, with no air to the trailer, you know, the brakes are set. So that's how you make sure you're latched in. Do it with the landing gear down, just in case if you're not latched in, you don't drop a trailer on its nose. That would be a hassle. So that's the first thing I do. Back in, here latch, do a tug test, set my brake. As soon as I hook up, tug test, I'll check my gap. There's no gap. I will crawl under here real quick. I don't know if you can see the latch right there. It's engaged around the pin, so there's no gap. Latch is there. My handle is in, so I'm locked in. You know, I could tell that with the tug test. And with these trailers, this is about a 54,000 pound load, 55,000 pounds. So it's got the dump axle in the back, and it's a triple axle, so we'll be running 4 axles. This one says do not touch. that engages this front axle, raises and lowers it. It's probably do not touch because it always needs to be down on the ground. And then that in that box will drop the back axle. So kind of the first thing I do after I tug test, check the fifth wheel, and then I'll hook up my trailer here. If you don't have a mounting point to store your loose cables, you know, you should always kind of just connect them like that when you're driving bobtail. That way you keep, you know, anything from getting in the lines. Some people have a nice mounting point. So that one's good. We're gonna get our air here, our lights. So you click in, tug test, check your fifth wheel. And you see I lowered my air, I dumped my air to get under this trailer. And you can see that once I backed in and turned off my air to fill the airbags back up, it raised those landing gear, you know, an inch or two. So, you know, they usually dump their air and then drop the landing gear, so these things sit low. So after I check the fifth wheel, I'll connect the air lines. I will engage trailer air, just because it takes a while to fill up, and I'll let it fill up while I you know, raise the landing gear and do all the lights. I'll also make sure all my lights are turned on, and I'll hit my hazards, and that way I can check my lights, make sure they're working. While it's filling up with air, we will pull this box open, and this will lower that back axle. Just for weight distribution, I want that extra axle down for this kind of weight. And you can't really see it, but it's lowering, it's engaging. The system's filling up with air. My turn signal's working. See, with my hazards on, I can check that both signal lights are working. Brake lights are on. Clearance lights up top are on. Turn signal's working down that side. So that's kind of my process. Click in, tug test, check your fifth wheel, and then supply air while you're doing your walk around. That way your trailer fills up. You can check here, make sure you got a good connection. You would feel a little bit of air leak here if you weren't seated properly. I gotta grease my hinge again. Driving in all this snow and ice over the last 2 months makes my stuff start to squeak again. So I will lift these up last. I got this tire checker bat here. You always just kind of want to hit the tires, make sure none of them sound flat, give them a visual, make sure you got no missing chunks, you know, make sure everything just looks good. You don't want to blow out in the middle of nowhere. Out here in Eastern Washington, you get roads that I gotta go on that are, you know, one lane each direction and soft shoulder, so you can't really pull over, and you're kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So that's it. That's how I hook up the trailer. I also want to check, since this is preloaded for me and I'm just dropping and hooking, I want to check that it's got a seal on it. And I've already double checked. My trailer number is the one on the paperwork. And when I get down to my drop point, which is a cold storage, I think today's load is just going to be a drop and hook, hopefully. If they got an empty trailer for me to bring back, I'll just park this one in the dock, grab the empty, and we'll get going. Let me get this landing gear raised, and we'll get on the road. Again.
You're gonna do the same thing again?
If it's possible, yeah. You guys got it empty?
We got it.
Sweet.
Right back.
Awesome. Thank you.
Do the same thing with that. Down there on the end, F6 is that trim.
Right here on the end? Okay.
You'll drive right by it.
Okay, and I'm still at 3 corners, yeah? Barely? Alright, I was at 3 corners when I left, so I was hoping I'd be cool. Alright, thank you, sir. Arrived at our destination, Lineage Cold Storage. All right, can I see on my right? There is my empty to pick up. So what I'll do here is I'm going to go check in into the receiving, which is directly in front of us right now, that office over there. And then they'll give me a door. I'll park this. I'm dropping, go hook to this empty, and I'll head home for the day. Squeeze in here. It's a little tight around here sometimes. Here we are, about to drop my trailer, door 36. Just wanted to get this cool sunset. Get to see a lot of cool stuff like this. A lot of cool sunrises and sunsets when you're out here on the road. And just before you pull in to the dock, before you start backing, raise your drop axle if you got one. And I'm gonna raise that back axle. And I don't know if you can see that knob. Front axle raises, and then there's a back axle, a single axle in the back. So now I'll be just running on the 2 axles in the back. My drop axle is lifted in the front, and that'll kind of allow me to steer a little bit better. Pretty quiet around here today. It's a Sunday. Usually we got trucks or trailers in all these docks. This is the inbound docks, and they have another section for outbound loads. Pretty sure these are all inbound docks. So we're gonna go to 36, which is right in between these 2 trailers. A nice easy back today. I wish I had a camera. Wish I could get you a good angle of backing, but I mean, I'll try and get that sorted out at some point. Because there are some pretty tricky backs that you do sometimes, but this one's pretty easy. It's, you know, you just kind of U-turn it like this and straighten out, and it's basically a straight back in. So this is a nice easy one. Got plenty of room. Give you a view of the sunset while I'm back. Straighten her out just a little bit. Bump the dock, but place is kind of particular. You gotta your tires have to be right on painted lines, or else their dock plates don't quite fit. So I bumped the dock, I'm lined up. I'll show you guys in a second. With these triple axle or quad axle trailers, some of them you have to basically bump the dock, release your air, the trailer will settle and push your tractor forward, 6 inches or a foot sometimes. I mean, it shimmies you forward. So if I'm gonna leave this trailer dropped here, I gotta let the air out, let it settle. And then fill it back up for a second and bump it again. There we go. You see this painted line right here? It's kind of paint, but your tire's got to be right on that line, or else the dock plate's not exactly going to line up. So we're good. And I'm going to pop this. Pop that, pop that, I'm going to dump my air, which will basically deflate these airbags in the back and lowers the trailer. And we will do the glide hand or the landing gear here. And earlier in the video during the time lapse, I pulled off at the rest stop real quick. And I know the old timers call it the pickle park. I'm not going to go into detail, but I finally figured out why they call it the pickle park. Yeah, pulled off real quick, and had some homeboy in there, hanging out in the stall, trying to holler. And I was like, sorry homie, I don't want to get down like that, but you know, be safe out here. So I'm unhooked. Fifth wheel handles unhooked. Air's dropped. Landing gear's down. But like I said, if you're going to bobtail and you don't have the mounts for your hoses here, you always want to hook them together to keep stuff out of the hoses. I'm not going to do that right now. We're going to back into another trailer. What I'm going to do is pull out. I'm going to grab that trailer support right there, and I'm just going to wheel it under here, just, you know, for the guy's safety. And then we're going to back into another trailer. Alright, I chocked those wheels. You always want to chock your wheels, especially if you're leaving a trailer that's full. Chock the wheels. I put that yellow support stand thing that they got here. I tucked it under the front by the kingpin just in case. You always want to tuck your fifth wheel, or I'm sorry, your landing gear handle. You always want to tuck it back underneath. You don't want to leave it sticking out. I've seen guys drive on it with the forklift, and I've watched those things start to unwind. you know, with a full load and a forklift on there, you don't want those to take a nosedive. You want people to be safe. So I'm just here. I'm almost out of battery, so I probably won't get a time lapse of the drive home. It's gonna be dark anyways. So I'm just back into my trailer here. Sorry about that beeping. It's dropping my axle, my rear axle, so I can get under this trailer. Sometimes you gotta hit it hard. So hooking up the trailer, again, you know, just you can hit it hard, you want to always hit it a little bit because you want to make sure that pin latches. So first things first, latch it in, raise your air back up. That should pull your landing gear off the ground an inch or two. Do a tug test just to make sure my lights are on so I can check trailer lights. And I'll go hook up the airlines. This is another thing you get to deal with sometimes. Look how much space I got there to do the landing gear. It's maybe a foot. What I got to do is crawl underneath. And I got it a turn or two just to get the clearance off the ground. I'm going to pull out. That way I can get around and check all the lights and everything like that. They got me no room here. That's the way she goes. Alright, I got clearance. Up goes the landing gear. So right now I got an issue here. Have to watch that. I don't know if you can see it, the flicker, but it's because the pins on these trailers get worn out, and you gotta, depending on what the style they are, you can stick a little flathead screwdriver in and kind of spread the pins back out, and that'll give a better connection to the electrical plug. So sometimes you got to do that. So I'm going to watch this, and you know, hopefully it'll kind of settle in and won't give me any troubles. But if so, I'm going to have to get out and spread those pins back out. And that'll give this thing a better connection. So we'll see. Now, when I'm riding on these 2-lane roads with a soft shoulder, you know, I always just understand that the 4-wheelers, they want to go around you. I mean, you know, you got a 55,000-pound trailer, and you know, you can't really get up to speed. you know, you should probably just do the speed limit. You can't pull over, so you just, you know, you see a clearing, you see a, you know, you see a broken line, you can usually I usually let off the gas kind of when I see people are kind of set up to pass. Just let them go around you. You know, I'm coming up the road here, and you know, a couple people passed, and then I see in my rear view or my side mirror here the Subaru got pulled out to pass, and I look in front of me and there's an oncoming person, and this Subaru is not going to make it. So instead of just hitting the brakes and getting back behind the semi for a minute, the car proceeds to get over in the other shoulder. So she was going head on and then went to the left and got on the far shoulder. Didn't even slow down. Still doing 60 miles an hour. And then passed like 3 cars, you know, coming the other direction, and then got back out into the oncoming lane and then got out in front of me. And I was like, damn. So, you know, just keep your eyes open out there. Understand that you just gotta let it roll off your back, go slower. You know, don't do anything crazy, just let the four-wheelers go. That Subaru did all that crazy stuff, and then 5 minutes down the road, her and her friend, you know, pulled off just to take pictures of the sunset or whatever. It's like, I don't know why that you would risk it all for, you know, to be there like 30 seconds ahead of me. I don't get it, but just be safe. I will check in when I get back to the yard. All right, I made it back. No hassles. You know, everything. Night driving is kind of peaceful. I tried to do some time lapse, but it's just too dark. My phone doesn't get a good picture, so I couldn't really get any night time lapse for you. So we're back here in downtown Quincy. I'm about 2-3 blocks from the yard. I'm gonna drop this trailer and turn in the paperwork and call it good. I did have, when I left the delivery, you know, I had some flickering lights issue with the plug being loose. So when I get back to the yard, I'll turn on the light and I'll show you guys kind of how I fixed it. It's real easy. I just had to pull over on the side of the road and just kind of wedge some little piece of cardboard in there. So I'll show you what I did, and it works. In a pinch, you know, when you need it to take care of the problem, and you know it's dark or it's cold or anything like that, you can just kind of do this trick and it'll get you where you need to go. Tight squeeze in here. A couple of big boys coming through town. It's another Skagit trailer. So he's probably heading down to the delivery where I just came from. The yard. pull through. Pull through. Sorry if you can't see anything. It's it is real dark out here. They got no parking lights, really, no nothing. So sorry about that. Just pull up right next to this guy here. Sure that I'm straight. Give myself a little bit of room for hit the landing gear. So I'll show you a little trick to get your lights going. I'll hit my load lights here. Here's what I did. You know, my plug was loose. I took a little piece of just a little whatever I had in the truck. I had this little I don't even know what this is. There's some chain binders or something. So it's kind of a little thin piece of cardboard, but basically stick it in there, and then you slide your plug in, and it'll wedge it in. So, you know, kind of a simple little trick. So that's it. I will drop the air, hit the landing gear, pull the fifth wheel, pull my air lines. So I just pull those right now, and we'll be out of here. We'll run to the office and drop this stuff. Thanks for checking me out. Stay tuned for more. I'll be posting, as often as I can edit. So have a good night. Drive safe.